So I don't know, for some reason last night I couldn't sleep and I got an itch to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And of course, when I fired it up today on the PS5, it has a file the size of South Africa. So whatever, I gotta wait. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting, I decided to go ahead and do this review. Now, I was very excited initially when this figure was announced. I know that they had like a black and gold version, and I wasn't too excited about that one, but this one, definitely, it is a variant of that original figure. I'm a huge fan of the Arkham games. I think they're revolutionary and really kind of spawned this new genre of superhero games that we have coming out lately, especially when you consider the Spider-Man series, Insomniac's kind of like treasure trove. I mean, that Spider-Man game is just amazing. Nevertheless, if it wasn't for games like the Arkham series with Batman, I don't think they would have been as successful or as revolutionary. This really paved the way for those other games. What made the Arkham games so awesome is that it was a semi-open world game that you were able to explore all of Arkham. I know the first one was just Arkham Asylum, but then you got into Gotham, which was really awesome, and it had those really cool elements, I should say, of being a detective, just being Batman, you know, going on the rooftops and scaling things and looking at crime scenes. It was just really awesome. And that's one of the reasons that I was really excited about any kind of like paraphernalia or products that come out from the games from that series, which is really cool. So, having said that, today we're going to be reviewing Hot Toys version of Batgirl from the Arkham games. This is the purple and gold version, the 1/6 scale figure. Let's take a closer look. Now, insane as this may sound, I realize that there's a lot of people that haven't played these games, so I'm not going to give them too much information on Barbara Gordon, how important she is, who she is in the series, because I feel like that's spoilers, and I don't want to mess that up because the games are so fantastic. Now, I forgot to mention that this is actually the Arkham Knight variant purple and gold version, which is really fantastic. Now, the head sculpt here is perfect. This is definitely Barbara Gordon. I love the sternness in the eyes. The head sculpt is fantastic, and really have to appreciate that purple and gold, which looks absolutely outstanding. I really think it complements it a little bit more than the black and gold, and it really stands out. Now, speaking of the actual color palette itself, this is what I think is so fantastic. They do have this in a high sheen and metallic finish, which is really a standout, and I think it's just fantastic what they did here. And there are subtle variations to that purple using different kind of shades and whatnot. Now, look at how absolutely detailed it is. Of course, the Batgirl logo is fantastic. It's a brilliant gold, really stands out as a focal point. But look at the modularization in the actual armor set, particularly where her abdominals are. I mean, this just looks fantastic. The utility belt looks really great. I like the accents there, and of course take a look at the gauntlets and the textures, especially in the kind of like ribbed portion of her gauntlet looks really great. I love the design. It's very jagged and rigid in terms of her gauntlets, and the spikes look really fantastic. I can't say enough good things about this. This upper portion just looks really great, and I gotta say kudos to them because they really put a lot of detail into this. Now, where I have a couple of problems with this figure is definitely in the lower section. Sadly, they had to sacrifice a few kind of design choices in order to make this figure extremely malleable and flexible, and you see some really gaudy seam lines in the crotch area. Now, color palettes are done fantastic, especially again the ridges, I should say, look really great, but it's just those seam lines in the waist area that look kind of nasty. Now, the boots are sculpted very well, very malleable, I should say. They did a nice job on the ball joint system. Very nice shading on the overall gold effect on the actual boots themselves, and they're very ornate, I have to say. Pretty fantastic. Overall, this is a really great job on the lower section, except that waistline, especially where her legs meet her crotch area, I think they could have done a little bit better. Interestingly, the Bat family, in this particular case being Batgirl, they've always got some device for every occasion, right? But this figure is actually pretty light on accessories. You do get the Batarang. There's no foldable version. It's just kind of like open and out. And of course, you get the grapple gun, which is now iconic. Now, I'm going to show the rest of the accessories in a minute, but there's a nice wash on this, so it does look like there's a little bit of wear. It does fit in the hand very well, thank God. I've had some figures with the grapple gun that didn't fit well, and then it limited the posability and then the way that you can actually post or post the figure, which really sucked. Now, here is another problem that I have with this figure, which is a real disappointment. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with the actual cowl, The reverse side is really nice in terms of the hair sculpt. It is rooted hair. I'm not always a fan of that, but they did an excellent job here. She looks like she's got like Pantene products. It's done very well. I love the color of the hair because it contrasts well against the purple. The problem is the actual cape itself. It feels incredibly cheap. It actually feels like a sandwich bag. Now the inner lining is fine. It's done with this kind of like felt or faux felt material, but the back of it is plasticky and just very, very cheap feeling. It's a shame that they didn't put a little bit more effort. It is pretty malleable. It will move. There are some nice flexible points there, but unfortunately, when you feel it, it feels really cheap. It's like Timo, I don't know, Bat Cape. It just does not go with this figure and the overall design and quality. Now the base is pretty standard at this point. It is a slab. It does have a nice lithograph with the Batgirl logo, and on the lip of the base it has the Batgirl insignia with the name of the figure, Batgirl, which is pretty fantastic. Again, I'm so glad, and I say this a lot in the videos, I'm just glad that they can actually fit pretty well in these bases. Now she's very flexible, so she can actually get some wide gapes and stances. This figure doesn't fit very well on the base if you're going to do those. Now you get an alternate faceplate. Fortunately, they're not a pain in the ass to remove, and they give you a tool for it. This faceplate has a really nice smirk on it, which I thought was really cool, and it goes really well with the eyes. So I think that's really cool that you get another accessory and another option in which to pose this figure with, which is really great. Now, as I mentioned before, this figure does come with light accessories, but one of the cool things that she has is what they call the hacking device. So this has this kind of like holographic feature which shows, I don't know, whatever technology or technical hacking devices she uses in order to hack into things, which is really cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't light up. I think that would have been cool, or it's not holographic, it's just kind of like a static image. It would have been cool if it had a light up feature, or even have been holographic so you can move it around and get a different perspective. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. Then we get the extended grapple hook, which is really cool. I think you can remove it on the grapple gun. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't think they would hang it static. I didn't actually try this, but nevertheless, we do get it, and it's another posable option. Now, the only other weaponry we get here is another Batarang, which is very similar to the one that I showed already. And I guess this would be cool if you want to go Akimbo style and have dual Batarangs in the hands. I've never actually seen them do this, but it is a posable option. I think it would be pretty cool if you do that. Like, just go like Akimbo Rambo style, just have two Batarangs in the hands. I wouldn't do it because I do love the grapple gun, but nevertheless, if you want to do it, you can certainly do it because you have an extra one. And finally, of course, rounding out the last bit of accessories are 8 additional hands for various poses. I like the accent of gold on the knuckles on these actual hands, which looks really cool. And of course, every single hand has a function, so that you can really put the hand with the actual weapon or accessory that she is handling. It's a real shame because I think that this figure is extremely posable, but they had to make some questionable design choices or aesthetic choices in order to make that possible. So I'm a little uneasy about that. Now, is this a Holy Grail piece? Unfortunately not. It doesn't come with enough accessories, plus there is a black and gold variant. There are some questionable design choices, definitely the area in the crotch, that those gaudy seam lines, and definitely in the cape. I wanted this in my collection because I don't have a 1/6 scale Barbara Gordon Batgirl, so I'm definitely going to have this one, but I can't necessarily categorize it as a Holy Grail piece. But I wanted it. I think it's definitely worth it. So if you're into Batgirl, if you love Barbara Gordon, if you love the Arkham Knight series, definitely pick this one up. Alright everybody, so that's my official review on Hot Toys version of Batgirl, the purple and gold version from Arkham Knights, the 1/6 scale figure. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next Raw Desert Reviews.